The Easy Gourmet is sponsored by the Crowne Plaza, Boston Woburn. The Crowne Plaza is the destination for north of Boston business and social events, featuring flexible meeting and ballroom space, anniversaries, reunions, and beautiful weddings. The Crowne Plaza will make your business meeting a success. Spacious newly renovated guest rooms and luxury suites, executive level accommodations, the Scoreboard Sports Bar and Grill, indoor pool, business center, and a state-of-the-art fitness center. Visit the Crowne Plaza, Boston Woburn today to plan your next business or social event.
Liquor Junction of 345 Washington Street in Woburn and 1 General Way in Reading. The purveyors of fine wine, beer, microbrews, single malts, and spirits. Visit us on our website at theliquorjunction.com. Gibson Sotheby's International Realty. Come by one of our offices today to see the unique approach Gibson Sotheby's International Realty can offer you in buying or selling your home. Call us toll-free at 1-800-624-9389 or visit us on our website at gibsonsothebyrealty.com.
Hillside Florist. For more than 50 years, Charlie Hardy and his staff have been committed in offering the finest in floral arrangements and gifts for all occasions. Call us at 781-933-2670 or visit our website at hillsideflorist.biz. Periodontist Dr. Lawrence Miller. Dr. Miller is dedicated to periodontics such as periodontal disease, diagnosis and treatment, bone grafts, crown lengthening, dental implants, and more. When you visit our Danvers office, your smile and periodontal health is our top priority.
Hello everyone and welcome back to the Easy Gourmet. I am your chef and host Vinny Felici. Glad to have you in my kitchen today. The menu, as usual, I always say this, it's kind of all over the place today, but that's fine. There's going to be a lot of technique on the show today and I think you'll enjoy it. What we're going to be doing first is a fruit platter. And I'll show you my version of how I like to make a fruit platter. The second is a couple of individual salads. And I'm going to make a little raspberry vinaigrette, my version of a raspberry vinaigrette to go on top of that. And also chicken saltimbocca, which is scallops of chicken with prosciutto. And that will be our entree. The first thing we want to do, though, before we get our fruit platter started, that's what we're going to do first, is the salad is going to have some candied walnuts. So what I'm going to do is just candy up a few. It's a two-step process. We have to make the simple syrup. And we need, it's usually a 2-to-1 ratio. 2 sugars to 1 water. So I'm going to use a cup of sugar. That's a half a cup. Another half a cup. So we have a cup of sugar. And we have a half a cup of water. Okay, and I'm going to add a little cinnamon to this. You can always add a cinnamon stick. I don't have any, so I'm just using a little ground cinnamon. And a little bit of nutmeg. You can always crush a nutmeg and throw that in, but you'll have to filter it all afterwards. So I basically like to use the powder and the grated. And we want to get this to get a really, really thick consistency, which take about 3 or 4 minutes, maybe a little longer. Again, that's a cup of sugar, half a cup of water. And we want to boil that down until it becomes a syrup. Okay, let's get our fruit platter started. the first thing we want to do is we get a nestle of grapes. I don't think it's called a bunch of grape. I think it's nestle or something like that. So we want grapes. A mixture of grapes would be nice, but today we just happen to have red. You know, this is a couple of days after Christmas, and the supermarkets are still bare. So we want to trim that up a little. I think somebody's been snitching some grapes here. So we get that in the middle. Put that off to the side. So today we're going to be using, excuse me, we're going to use cantaloupe. So what I like to do is bottom, the other bottom, and we take the skin off. And you can certainly use other melons for this. Today I have cantaloupe and I have honeydew, but any melons would be great for this. Try to do the best you can. Then you won't get that much waste on here, but I just use a chef's knife. Flexible knives actually work pretty good in this scenario. Just let me check my simple syrup to make sure it's not boiling over. No, it looks good. Right now my oven is at 350, so once the simple syrup is ready, I'm going to coat my walnuts and put those in the oven. So that's where we're at with that. Let's just clean up a second here. Let's just shave a little more off. I certainly hope everybody had some wonderful holidays. I certainly did. Probably could have filmed about 3 or 4 shows with all the cooking I did. Okay, we have our cantaloupe cleaned off, so now we want to cut that in half. And we have our trusty scoop. Scoop out the seeds. And put that back down your cutting board, cut it down again. Now we want to remove these 2 little points. You can either save those or eat those. Just put those off to the side. And we want to get some, see how that stands up nice? We want to get some slices, and this varies on how you like it. Thin, or thick. And then we move that over to our platter with our knife. Get that in a nice straight line, and we can kind of make a nice little design. We're going to do that on each side. And that's all you have to do. And you do that. Now we're going to get our honeydew melon. And we want to do the same thing. Remove the skin. Okay, remove this. Seems like there's a lot of waste here, but there really isn't. It's very thin, as you can see. And we want to get rid of the rest of the skin. And again, cut that down the middle. Just going to use half, so I'll put this off to the side. And again, remove the seeds. Cut that down. Whoa. Remove those points. And again, flip it over and slice that. Okay, one more. And there we go. And there's your fruit plant. I'm going to put a little bit of pineapple. Same thing with the pineapple. Bottom. Top. Okay. Now we want to cut that. If you had a corer for this, you could, use your corer. So all I do is cut it in half again. Cut that in half again, and then I want to remove that piece that you really can't eat. You'll be able to feel it with the tip of your knife because it's very, very hard. It's really not used for anything. I think if you want to flavor a bowl of punch, you could use it, but you really can't eat it. It's very bitter, very hard. It's not bitter, it's sweet, but it's very hard and fibrous. So we get rid of those, and we just cut these up any way you want. And what I do is I do this. You make them bite-sized and you use that as a filler. And you could always throw in some strawberries and some other fruits. But basically, there's your easy gourmet fruit platter in less than 5 minutes. So put that off to the side. We're going to check our simple syrup. Let's see how we're doing. You can see how that's bubbling, and it's very thick. We're basically evaporating the water. And be careful here because this is very hot. Sugar and water together is actually much higher in temperature than just water. So, I think we're pretty good here. So we're going to shut this down. Just give me a moment to clean up. We'll be right back. Just give me a moment. Okay. Well, we're back. So I have my simple syrup. See how thick that has gotten? That's how we want it. And we're going to toss some walnuts. Actually, I may not use all that syrup because there's only 2 little salads. We don't need a whole lot of walnuts. So I'm going to use about a cup or so. We want to coat those. And mix those up. And we want to put those on a cookie sheet. I have a little piece of non-stick foil here. It'll just help for cleanup. You don't really need it, but cleanup will be much easier. Kind of separate those if you can. Okay. And we want these, let's hold on one second. We want to bake these probably 5 5 minutes or so till they caramelize. They're about halfway there now, but I'll throw that in a 350-degree oven for about 5 minutes. So we'll get rid of this. And we'll save our simple syrup for another time. That can be reheated. That'll solidify, but it'll reheat. So now we want to get our salads ready. I'm going to get a nice dish for that. And I have English cucumber. So what we want to do is cut the ends off and get that plastic off. I like these cucumbers because the seeds are smaller and they're sweeter. The skin on the regular cucumber is, to me, it's kind of bitter. Even if you take it off, the cucumber is just very dense and fibrous. The seeds are really large at times, especially during the off season, and I really like these cucumbers. I just think they add a nice touch to a salad, but you can use the other ones if you want to. And I have my trusty mandolin. This is going to get a little tricky. Hopefully it works on the first try. So we're going to use a regular straight blade on this. I think you could probably use a potato peeler with this, one of those potato peelers shaped like a Y, and do that a couple of times and you may be able to get the same effect. I haven't tried it, but I know I can use the mandolin, so I'm going to do that. I want to, actually what I want to do is get, going to have to just get a little bit of waste first before we, and what I'm looking for is a ribbon. So there's one. So we have one, so I'm going to keep that together with a toothpick for now. And we want another one of those. Now you could serve these on salad plates and give one per person, but we're just going to do this just to look, just so I can show everybody how I do this. We're going to put them all in one dish, but you can certainly do this on separate dishes and serve them as a first course. Oops, that one broke. Let's try it again. You don't really need the toothpicks, but I just want to, they kind of look a little nicer when you have the toothpick there. So let's just get rid of this. And I have a little bit of, whoa. Didn't see that coming. Make sure we cut that out. Well, I'll leave it in, it's the holiday show. So I have a little bit of washed mesclun salad. So we want to fill those up. You put as much as you want. I mean, you know, it's supposed to be basically a first course. Then I have some other things to dress that up. I have a nice ripe pear and some strawberries. So the pear, I just want to peel that down. I bought this pear yesterday, and look how beautiful that is. It's ready to eat, like right now. And you can cut this the way you want. You can make it into chunks. You could make it into wedges. Let's see how we're doing once I get it all cleaned up. Sometimes I don't know what's going to happen until I start. I use a melon baller to take the seeds out. If there's another way, you can certainly do that. But a melon baller really looks, works pretty good. I'm not sure if you could actually use these for anything, but they look good. Okay. And we just cut these into wedges. And we can fan this out on the dish. Okay, and I got a few strawberries. Excuse me. Ah, they're out of here. I'm just going to cut those up, toss those around. There's no rules here, just any way you like it. Okay, we'll see how the nuts are. They should have been about 5 minutes, maybe a little longer, but as long as you don't have the oven too high, it's on 350, it should be okay. Yeah, these look good. Let those cool off, because remember now the sugar on there, and the sugar is actually hotter than 350. So we just want to give that a couple of minutes to cool down. So while we're doing that, I can make a little bit of dressing. I have, this is my own version of raspberry dressing. I have some homemade raspberry jam. You can certainly use store-bought, it's fine. I probably would have used it if I didn't have this. And no measurement here, but we have like the 3 salads, so maybe a good tablespoon. Just eyeball that. And I have a little bit of balsamic. I would suggest if you, like I have some very expensive balsamics that are very thick and have been aged like a long, long time. You want something that's low to medium range price because you want it liquidy. Some of those very expensive ones are very thick, but we want something that's a little more, less viscous, a little more liquid. So I'm using about a tablespoon or 2 of balsamic vinegar. And break that raspberry down. A little bit of pepper. A little bit of kosher salt. And we're going to drizzle some olive oil into this. And you can certainly add a few other things to this. You could use whole peppercorns if you'd like. Or those little pickles. I'm not sure what they call them. They begin with a C. I forget what they are, but they're little pickles that you could add to this dressing. Okay. I don't need to taste this because I've made this about 50 times before. And I'll see how are our nuts here. I'll break up a few of our nuts. I always like to use, I can use these nuts to hide out the impurities of any mistakes I made. So kind of put those on top of the pears if I didn't really slice them as nice as they should be. You know, it's kind of do that. And then randomly, just randomly put this over your salad. And you can use as much as you want. I don't like to have my salad doused. Like I know a lot of times chefs will get a bowl, put all the mesclun in or put all the lettuce in, put the dressing in, dress it all, and then fill those. I don't like to do that because to me they'll wilt eventually with all that dressing. And I like to dot it because I think it's nicer this way. And there was our quick salad. A fancy schmancy salad with English cucumber as the place setting. And there you go. Why don't, again, I just need a couple of minutes to set up the entree, and we'll be right back. Okay, now for our entree. Let's have a little plastic here just to keep our board clean. Chicken saltimbocca, which means chicken, well, saltimbocca means to jump in the mouth. Bocca, B-O-C-C-A, means your mouth. And the reason why is because the prosciutto that is in this dish is supposed to actually do that for you. So hopefully I can do that for my audience today. So I have a little Parma prosciutto here. I'm going to alter this recipe slightly though, because the recipe calls for sage. And a lot of people aren't really that crazy about sage because it's really intense. So what I'm going to do today is I'm going to use a little bit of basil instead, which is a little more milder and a little more tolerable to the palate. So I have a nice chicken breast here. I have another one here. Well, let's see how many we get off this. Just take some of this fat off. One of the reasons why I like to take this fat off, and I know people always say fat is flavor. This kind of fat though will hit the oil and really cause a big spritz in your fry pan, so I like to remove that. And when you're cutting something, make sure, or try to make sure, because it is a little more helpful, that the handle of your knife is over the floor, not over the cutting board, because you won't be able to get your knife nice and perpendicular to it, because your knuckles will hold it one way or the other. So if you bring it close to the edge, the knife will be over the floor and you'll be able to cut evenly through the chicken or whatever meat you're cutting. So that's one. Always have a sharp knife, and do not use serrated for this. You'll never get through this meat. Maybe if the meat's a little frozen you might, but serrated on raw meat is not, I don't recommend it. Okay. Okay. This one's not going to be a perfect one, but that's okay. We'll hide it with the prosciutto. There's a little bone still in this. Okay. That's another one. And that's another one. Don't worry about if they're not exactly the way they should be. Sometimes that last piece is tough to cut, even for the Easy Gourmet. So we got another small one here, so we'll do that. We'll do all these. We'll do all these. Just cut right through that. See, that's about a 1/4 inch. I don't want to pound these out because I'm afraid they're going to break. They're so thin. So they're fine. Don't worry about it. If you can't get them that thin, like say for instance you're afraid to go through it and it's about this thick, then pound them out with a rolling pin or a meat tenderizer would be fine. Which I think I might do for this one since it's so uneven. Okay. Your trusty rolling pin. And that's all you have to do. That's almost like 2. Why don't we just cut that in half? Okay. All right. And we're just going to add a little pepper to these. I'm not going to add any salt because the prosciutto is kind of salty. Not real salty, but I'm just going to hold off on that. And I'm going to put basil. Just a little bit of basil on each one. And we don't no need for toothpicks here. Just everything's going to stick, believe it or not. A little bit of basil. This is the part where I substituted the basil for sage in our prosciutto. This is Parma prosciutto, imported from Italy. I like this because the domestic prosciutto from this country is kind of salty and kind of tastes synthetic. So I really like I really like the imported. See how nice and thin they sliced it, which is really nice. You can use as much as you want. I don't recommend ham here, although it's been done. So, ham has a lot of added smokiness and different other flavors that I don't think go that great with basil. So you may have to, if you don't really like prosciutto, or you can't get prosciutto, you might want to manipulate the recipe. That you might want to change the basil to something else. Just a recommendation, doesn't really matter. Because as everybody knows, there are no rules on this show. Okay. Put that off to the side. Just let me wash my hands quick. And we're going to get our pan started about medium high. And I haven't done it yet, but we're going to have that sit on a bed of orzo. So I'm just going to have a pot of boiling salted water here. I'm going to add a little bit of orzo. Oh, we're going to add a lot of orzo. You can certainly use rice for this, or rice pilaf might be nice. But we're just going to use orzo today to stick with our semi-Italian theme on the chicken saltimbocca. So we'll get rid of this. And I want to flour these, is what I want to do. So I'm going to get a little bit of flour. It's a trusty bucket of flour. And I have no clue what this is, but whatever it is, I'm going to get a little bit of flour. And I'm just going to flour these. Again, I did not salt these because I just don't want to do that with the. Oh, I forgot to prosciutto that. I don't want to incorporate any more salt in this dish because of the prosciutto. And do not. I recommend not to flour these until you're ready to cook, because the flour will kind of get gummy. So when you're ready to go, and flour them. So we're pretty close. That pan's heating up. As soon as I get these floured, we're gonna go with it. I'm gonna make a little sauce to go with this also. All in due time. All in due time. Okay. This is just all-purpose flour, by the way. Nothing special. Okay, we get rid of this. Get rid of our flour. Get rid of our whatchamacallit. And I'm gonna fry with corn oil today. Well, I like corn oil because it kind of can take a high heat, but you can certainly use olive. I wouldn't use extra virgin because it'll break down. Probably will taste good, but it'll just break down after a couple of minutes. Get a little heavy. So. Let's see. We got that going. I think we're ready to go here. Right now I have about 5 to 6 tablespoons of oil. Fry these in batches. You don't have to don't jam your pan. Just 2 or 3 or 4 at once is good. This is a regular pan. This isn't a non-stick pan, but you can certainly use non-stick. But if you use a regular pan, just make sure it's preheated. Recently I found out though, if you have the old type of non-stick pan, it's better to kind of start with the oil in it, because apparently when you heat a non-stick pan too high, certain gases are emitted from that non-stick. I think that's why those copper pans are really getting popular right now, because those don't emit those alleged toxic gases. These aren't going to take too long because they're only about a 1/4 inch thick. It fell apart a little, but that's okay. You want about a minute, 2 minutes per side, just to get a little golden brown. Okay. This one completely fell apart on me. I think this has a lot of fat on it, that piece. We're just going to put that off to the side. That's why that's sizzling like that. Okay. While those are cooking, I just want to get my other ingredients ready. We're going to add some mushrooms to this dish. Okay, just want to get those ready. That one's nice and golden. You got to remember, like I say, that these are only about a 1/4 inch thick, maybe a little more. And you don't want to go too crazy because they're going to rest and they're still going to cook a little more. So we want to be careful. Get rid of that. What I'm going to do is I'm going to switch out our cookie screens, because this had raw chicken, so I have a clean one here. I'm going to place these on this rack so they'll drain some of that oil. Okay, just stir this up a little. We're gonna keep this under our heat lamp. Oh, you know something? Our oven is still warm from the walnuts, so we'll just leave it in there for now because the sauce isn't going to take too long. I want to get rid of some of this oil. Now, as you can see, I have some of that font in there, which is some of the burned flour. So I want to get rid of some of this oil first. Put our mushrooms in. Save about a tablespoon or so of oil, about a tablespoon. Put our mushrooms in. Back on the heat. Now a little bit of fresh oil. I'm just going to use a little bit of olive. And I want to just cook the mushrooms till they're cooked. Just about a minute or so. because I'm going to add vermouth to that. You can certainly use white wine, but I'm going to add a little vermouth. Woo! Okay. Now we're going to crank that up to high, or semi-high. That's about a cup of vermouth. You can't save that amount of vermouth anyway, so we're going to use that. We'll get rid of this. Okay, let's taste our orzo, see how we're doing. It's ready. I have a dish for that. I had a dish. Okay. That's our orzo. I'm just going to add a little oil to that so it doesn't stick. Now for our sauce, just going to add a little parsley to that now. Just a little bit of parsley. And that's it. Case closed on that. And I got about a couple of tablespoons of butter to bind all that together. And I always add the butter when it's off. So just a couple of tablespoons, unsalted butter. And swirl that around so it gets nice and thick. See how silky that's getting? You could have certainly added cream to this and made more sauce, but we're not going to do that today. I boiled the cream down. I added some chicken stock and got more broth, but I didn't want to mask all the flavors of the chicken. And there's our chicken saltimbocca. So we're going to get that on our... We're going to strategically try to get this on our dish. Probably should have got a bigger dish, but that's okay. I can feel like, can anybody hear my breathing today? I can hear it. That's how loud I am today. But that's okay. And there you have it, chicken saltimbocca. I'm going to get our sauce. Look at that. See how that butter makes it real silky? See that? Nice and silky. And I want to get all those, I just want to dump it on there. I don't know if dump is actually a chef's word, but I don't want to just put it on there without making it look good. These are portobello mushrooms. You can certainly use white or, you know, something that's really off the beaten path mushrooms, which I kind of like, although, like I say, we're a few days after the holiday, and it's hard to find ingredients right now. I think a lot of distributors and places have time off. Oh, look at that. Wow. Can I say wow, even though it's my own show? Can I say that? Look at that. That's beautiful. Actually, I don't know what I did with the parsley. Why don't I just throw a little bit of this in the middle to kind of dress it up a little. Like that. Okay. And that's it. Chicken saltimbocca on orzo. And this is the part of the show where I, like to share with you, share what we did today. And I have a nice Pinot Grigio today called Menage a Trois, and it's from California. And you're going to say, but it's not cold. I like white wines room temperature. You can certainly, this is a nice wine, certainly chilled, but I prefer my wines at room temperature, whether they're red, white, rosé. Of course, champagne I like cold, or sparkling wines, but regular wine, regular varietals I like room temperature. And I picked this up at Liquor Junction. Menage a Trois is a nice company. They make blends, they have cabs, they have merlots, and they have a bunch of white wines also. To all my viewers of the Easy Gourmet, I hope you all had a Merry Christmas, and I'm wishing you a how do you say that? Prosperous and Happy New Year. Cheers. Wow, that is good. When you don't feel good, alcohol always tastes better. Okay, let's give this a try. Then I can let everybody go. We'll just get another pair of tongs here. Oh my God, look at this. Look at that, that's beautiful. That's a work of art. Let's try this Orzo. Like I said, like rice would be nice with this, but I didn't want to really take away from the chicken, because that rice has those flavor packets and they're really intense. I suppose white rice would have been nice, but white rice is, I don't know, it's just bland. So. Okay. I don't know where to start here. Very nice. There's enough balance with the neutralness of the chicken and the saltiness of the prosciutto that I'm glad I didn't add any salt, because I think it would have overwhelmed this dish. I think it would have overwhelmed. I'm not sure how I'm going to work the salad on this one. Maybe I'll just taste a piece and see how the dressing. I'll taste a piece of pear and see how the dressing came out. Beautiful. You could just have a vinaigrette without oil if you wanted to, but I like oil in my vinaigrette. And I didn't use extra virgin olive oil because there's so many other ingredients that I just think it would get lost. So I just use regular olive oil, just a second or third press. Well, let's see how our Orzo is. Very nice. And that little bit of olive oil is nice. It's good on there. It doesn't overwhelm it, it's just enough. I think that concludes our show today. I want to thank our sponsors, the Crown Plaza of Woburn, Gibson Sotheby's Realty, Dr. Larry Miller, Liquor Junction, of 4 locations now, Woburn, Reading, Somerville, and Winchester. And of course, last but not least, our most gracious sponsor, Mr. Charles Hardy, Hillside Florist, 888 Main Street, here in North Woburn, Mass. Thank you all for being part of the Easy Gourmet. Well, I guess that's it for today. So I want to say, as I usually say, good health and good cooking. See you next time on the Easy Gourmet.
The Easy Gourmet is sponsored by the Crown Plaza, Boston, Woburn. The Crown Plaza is the destination for north of Boston business and social events, featuring flexible meeting and ballroom space, anniversaries, reunions, and beautiful weddings. The Crown Plaza will make your business meeting a success. Spacious, newly renovated guest rooms and luxury suites, executive level accommodations, the Scoreboard Sports Bar and Grill, Indoor Pool, Business Center, and a state-of-the-art fitness center. Visit the Crown Plaza Boston Woburn today to plan your next business or social event.
Liquor Junction of 345 Washington Street in Woburn and 1 General Way in Reading. The purveyors of fine wine, beer, microbrews, single malts, and spirits. Visit us on our website at theliquorjunction.com. Gibson Sotheby's International Realty. Come by one of our offices today to see the unique approach Gibson Sotheby's International Realty can offer you in buying or selling your home. Call us toll-free at 1-800-624-9389 or visit us on our website at gibsonsothebyrealty.com.
Hillside Florist. For more than 50 years, Charlie Hardy and his staff have been committed in offering the finest in floral arrangements and gifts for all occasions. Call us at 781-933-2670 or visit our website at hillsideflorist.biz. Periodontist Dr. Lawrence Miller. Dr. Miller is dedicated to periodontics such as periodontal disease, diagnosis and treatment, bone grafts, crown lengthening, dental implants, and more. When you visit our Danvers office, your smile and periodontal health is our top priority.